The women of this village have never eaten red strawberries because the entire village is extremely afraid of the color red. If they ever see a red-colored plant or tree, they immediately uproot it and bury it in the ground. The people of this village can never leave it, because doing so could cost them their lives. You see, the village is surrounded by a forest, and in that forest live terrifying-looking monsters. Many years ago, the ancestors of the villagers made an agreement with these monsters. The monsters would not harm the villagers as long as no one from the village stepped into the forest. But now, a mentally unstable boy named Lucas went into the forest and brought back red-colored fruit. This act broke the long-standing agreement between the monsters and the humans. That very night, a boy hears strange noises, and when he looks down, he sees that a monster has entered the village. Alarmed, he rings a large bell to wake everyone up. Hearing the bell, the villagers begin to hide in order to save themselves from the monster. Meanwhile, a blind girl named Ivy, who lives in the village, becomes very frightened after hearing the monster's roar. The monster starts moving toward her. Now, what happens next in this story? Let's find out together. The story begins in the 19th century in a village named Pennsylvania. Although the village seems to be peaceful and prosperous, no one is allowed to leave it. The village is surrounded by high walls, and there is also a watchtower in the village, where someone is always stationed to keep watch. The village is situated right in the middle of a forest, which is why the villagers have no contact with any other settlements. The people living in this village never leave it. There is no use of money here. Everyone respects one another, and anyone can marry anyone else. But there is one rule for marriage. No one is allowed to hold someone's hand unless they are married. One of the village elders loses his daughter to an illness. The village has no proper medical facilities, which makes treating any kind of disease nearly impossible. The next morning, everyone is seen eating together when suddenly, strange sounds begin to come from the forest, frightening everyone. However, there is a mentally unstable boy named Noah who starts laughing, but no one scolds or mocks him because the villagers are kind and support each other. Later, the dead body of an animal is found in the village. This leads to a meeting among the elders, where they try to figure out what killed the animal. During the meeting, a young man named Lucius comes forward and pleads with the elders to let him go outside the village to bring medical help. He believes there must be other villages nearby, and says that if they had medical facilities, they could have saved the elder's daughter. But the elders deny his request. The reason they refuse is that years ago, the creatures used to attack the village, so the elders made a pact with them. No one would leave the village, and in return, the creatures would not attack. The elders don't want to break this pact. Only the elders have seen these creatures. The younger generation hasn't, although they often hear the sounds from the forest and find mysterious signs. Lucius isn't afraid of the creatures and wants to go into the forest. In the village, there's a blind girl named Ivy. Though she can't see, her senses and mind are very sharp. Ivy, along with Noah, visits Lucius. She tells Lucius she knows he hasn't held her hand because he loves her. And it's true, Lucius does love Ivy. Lucius sees that Noah is holding a red fruit, something only found in the forest. Red objects are forbidden in the village. If anyone sees anything red, be it cloth, flower, or fruit, it is immediately buried. Lucius realizes that Noah went into the forest, but was unharmed by the creatures, likely due to his innocence. He once again approaches the elders and argues that if Noah can go into the forest safely, perhaps the creatures aren't dangerous. He asks for permission to leave the village and get medical help, but again, the elders refuse, determined to help. Lucius leaves the village boundaries the next morning despite being forbidden. He sees a shadow in the woods, believed to be a creature, and returns inside the boundary. That night, the watchman sees a shadow under the watchtower, which frightens him, and he starts ringing the bell. The villagers, hearing the bell, become terrified. Every house in the village has a basement where the villagers hide during threats. Ivy is still outside waiting for Lucius, but he arrives and takes her to the basement. All night, they hear the creature's sounds. In the morning, they find red marks outside every door, a warning from the creatures that the agreement is broken. The village holds a meeting, and the elders are troubled. Lucius admits he went outside the boundary and saw a creature. They realize this broke the pact. However, because they know Lucius's intentions were good, they forgive him and ask him never to leave the village again. Later, Ivy's sister gets married, and the whole village celebrates. But after the celebration, villagers find dead animals hanging outside their homes, another sign that the creatures are angry. Lucius visits Ivy, and they both decide to get married soon. The next morning, Noah becomes enraged out of jealousy. He had loved Ivy since childhood. In a fit of rage, he stabs Lucius with a knife. Lucius is critically injured, and because there's no medical facility, his chances of survival are slim. Noah is locked in a punishment room, a special room used to imprison anyone who does something wrong. When Ivy finds out Noah stabbed Lucius, she is devastated. Her father, Edward, one of the elders, tells her he once felt helpless when she lost her eyesight and now wants to help. He considers going into the forest himself, but his wife stops him, reminding him of the promise they all made. Ivy decides she will go through the forest to bring medical help. Edward supports her and, going against the other elders, gives her permission. Before she leaves, Edward reveals a hidden room and secrets never shared with anyone before. Ivy is accompanied by two boys from the village. They are terrified during the journey, but Ivy remains fearless. That's because her father had told her the truth, that the creatures are not real. The supposed creatures are actually some of the elders dressed in costumes to scare people into staying in the village. The sounds in the forest are also artificially created by devices placed on trees, activated by the wind. The two boys, terrified by the noises, return to the village. But Ivy continues her journey because she knows the truth. Meanwhile, back in the village, the elders are angry with Edward for revealing the secret. He had sent his daughter into the forest. Everyone says that we worked so hard for so many years and created a safe place. But now this path and our secret will soon be revealed to the entire world. To this, Edward says that nothing like that will happen. He has explained everything to his daughter, Ivy. Meanwhile, Ivy is shown walking deeper into the forest. Suddenly, she falls into a large pit, but somehow manages to climb out. During this time, she starts hearing the sounds of creatures. Although her father had told her that there were no creatures in the forest, there were old stories in the village, suggesting that creatures once existed who used to mimic humans. Then Ivy breaks a stick, and she hears the sound of a stick breaking from the other side as well. She throws a stone, and someone throws a stone back. She realizes that the creatures are indeed real and standing before her. Terrified, she starts running. We then see a creature chasing her. Ivy's senses are very sharp, so she escapes carefully. She stops right in front of the same pit she had fallen into earlier. Knowing the creature is behind her, she quickly steps aside, and the creature falls into the pit. Back in the village, the elders enter a secret room where Noah had been locked up, but he's not there. Instead, they find a hidden passageway, along with some items and animal skins. This reveals that the animals being killed in the village weren't by the elders, but by Noah. Even the elders were troubled by this. Here we learn that Noah was mentally unstable, but he was also very sharp. He had found the same costume the elders used to wear when roaming in the forest, so Noah had discovered the elders' secret and began roaming in the forest dressed like them, just as the elders had been manipulating the villagers' minds. Noah was now manipulating the elders, but Noah loved Ivy. When he found out that Lucius was going to marry her, he lost control and attacked him, leaving Lucius badly injured. The creature chasing Ivy in the forest, the one who fell into the pit, was none other than Noah, who died. Ivy then continues her journey. Her father, Edward, had told her about a secret path. Following it, she reaches a tall wall and climbs over it. On the other side, we see a road, and soon a vehicle arrives. A police officer steps out. Here we learn that it's not the 19th century, but actually the 24th century, our present time. The officer is shocked to see Ivy because the area beyond the wall is called an animal sanctuary where no one goes, and no planes fly over it, as it's not on any flight route. That's why the villagers never realized they were living far behind in time. Only the elders knew the truth, since they had created this village. Ivy asks the officer for medical help. She gives him a letter from her father, Edward, and a gold watch, since there's no money in their village. The officer initially wants to inform his senior, but seeing Ivy's sincerity and grief, he decides to help her. He brings her the medicines and leaves her back where he first met her. Ivy returns to the village and gives the medicine to her father, which is then given to Lucius. She tells everyone that she encountered a creature in the forest, but it died. Noah's parents realize that he is dead, but don't tell anyone. Still, fear of the creature remains in everyone's heart. Now the question arises, why did the elders create these creatures? In 1972, when Edward was a professor, he used to counsel people who had lost their loved ones due to crime in the real world. The grief was caused by society itself. So, together with others, he created a plan to build a village that no one could leave and no outsider could enter. Edward, being very rich due to his family wealth, bought the entire area and built the village at its center. He also funded the police to ensure no one came near the wall. Police patrolled the roads around the wall so no one could cross. Edward even funded the government to ensure no planes flew over that area. Ivy had testified that she killed a monster in the forest, which once again instilled fear in everyone's heart. This ensured their secret remained safe, and all the people in the village would continue living a life based on centuries-old ways. The children who came here were very young and have now grown up, so they don't remember anything, and with that, the story comes to an end. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for subscribing to our Majora Explainer English channel.